Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates. Also, know I like to go deep within my reading, so I look at everything. We look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes along with everything else. Keep that in mind if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me. And if you do, because you resonated so much with this video, you'll also have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always the first word that's on the first card that I pull out this deck. I don't even know what deck is this. It's the Shadow Samskata cards. That's what I'm using. Well, doesn't really say who, but the artwork was done by Dorita. I can't even pronounce the name. I'm just gonna hold it up. I don't want to butcher it. Okay, by that on the bottom. Okay, if you can pronounce that name. Okay, I wanted to give thanks by giving a shout out, but I can't even pronounce the name. So the intention was there. Anyway, I want to thank all my new subscribers and thank you for also, playing the word of the day, the word of the video, I should say. I'm doing a reading tonight for one of my winners at 10 o'clock, and I will be staying on after to answer any questions. So if you want to, have anything that you want to know psychically, I am, opening up the floor to take some questions for super chats. So keep that in mind tonight. And that's whatever you want to give. It's pretty much donation. But like I said, I believe in the energy exchange, right? That's what it's all about. And that's what we're looking at in our relationships. We can tell when we have spiritual blocks and shadows because there's not an equal exchange of energy. It's how much energy we put out. We see that a lot of times within our relationships. Again, that's why we look at the shadows. We see why your situation is playing out the way that it is. Everything is karmic, which means learn. And there's many different ways a situation can play out. Your level of consciousness should be at the highest vibration, in order for you to attract, what you're trying to attract into your life. Anything that we associate with unconditioned love, anything that is going to bring us happiness or passion, if we don't feel that we're worthy, well, it'll play out within our relationships, it'll play out within our finances. So, like I said, if you have a block somewhere in your life, you definitely want to be able to heal it, because really how you make yourself really strong is how spiritually strong that you are, because everything happens in the spiritual realm long before it happens in the physical realm, right? You're a spiritual being having a human experience, and the spiritual plane is of the mind, it's of consciousness. So if you have, again, spiritual blocks of a lower consciousness, you're going to be a magnet for that same types of energies that you're holding, and that doesn't look pretty. Believe me, if you don't like yourself, you can pull a person to you that's a narcissist, that's angry, that has like so many more problems than just a low self-esteem. All right. I always feel the need to say a little something before each reading. Okay, so the word out is abandonment. We got that one not too long ago. I'm going to pull another one just because when I feel like one has come out too far, too long, like I don't want the reading to be like the same. So we're going to do disassociation on top of that abandonment. Ironically, right away, I'm feeling like you are connected to somebody that has the same spiritual blocks that you do. And that's what I just actually said, that literally. And what it is that it's not the way that yours plays out is a lot different, which is you're connected to someone that, is malicious, is someone that like does tit for tat, that looks for reasons to create problems. I feel like you both have the fear of abandonment, which means that you grew up in environments that didn't really make you feel safe, and then had relationships that people didn't really show up with the way that they should on an emotional level. And when this happens at a very young age, detachment happens, and detachment is, where we kind of know what happened, but we don't really, it's like we were there, but we were watching it. Like if somebody else go through it, that's what it feels like, even though it was us that went through it. It's like we're seeing it almost, like I said, somebody else. And this disassociation is, we don't have an emotion one way or the other about it. It just is. And that's when we have severe trauma, and severe trauma happens again at a very young age when we are pretty much know that we can't rely on our parents. So if you grew up with someone that was really emotional, someone that lost their cool all the time, like again, you're not going to feel comfortable enough to like be vulnerable around this person. You're not going to feel comfortable to ask them for what you need. If you're a child and you're depending on a parent that's like that, you're not going to feel safe to do that. So like I said, that's what happens when we live in survival mode for long periods of time, living in survival mode because we don't feel safe. So I feel like you grew up that way, Virgo, with a parent that was really, like you said, somebody that was that way. And I feel like you're connected to somebody that also grew up very similar. And you and this person, I feel like there's a sense that you feel like I would be going into the same exact dynamic that I grew up in. There's this energy of that because abandonment, I feel like you're connected to someone that never shows up for you. And disassociation is this person was really supposed to be there for you. You really felt like they were supposed to be there for you. So you might have gone through like someone important to you might have died, unfortunately, or you might have lost your job, or there had to be something again that was really difficult for you to go through. And this person just didn't show up like so many other times that you were faced to deal with situations on your own. So this is the underlining energy right now. And I feel like your person also knows. They didn't, for a long time, they didn't see why you weren't talking to them, why you were being so difficult with them. They thought that you were toxic. I feel like they've been reflecting for a long time, and for a long time, they thought that they were okay with their decision. Now I feel like they're seeing things from your perception, and that like it's almost like they've had like an awakening, and this awakening is like um making them realize a lot. Now let's see why I just channeled that. Let's see what happened. Um, what happened, what type of relationship this is, how deep we can go, and then what they're gonna do, and then why you attracted this person into your life. Or why you attracted this person into your life, and what are they going to do, and then, any other advice. So again, start off with what did they do that made you feel abandoned, withdrawn. So I feel like this person, like whenever they have a problem, they don't feel comfortable to actually have a conversation. They go into isolation. They withdraw. And they withdraw because they never felt safe. to like really open up and express their feelings. And I feel like you also are someone that understands that because you too didn't have support. And when you're young and you don't have support, it's the way that people tend to go into isolation in order to, heal themselves, to figure things out. And again, because they're haunted, it's again, I feel like this person has never really gotten over um fears fears of like of what can happen in their relationship. They've never, gotten over what has happened in the past. And I'm feeling even more from like how they grew up. They never got over that. It's almost like they have unconditional love for their family, but they also are still like almost like a slave that to that environment, almost like where they still feel like they need to be the rescuer, the healer, the fixer. And so what they did with you is they were just like, again, rebellious. They don't, it's like they couldn't be there for you because again, they still have to heal from, I really do believe it's more or less their childhood wounds. I don't believe that this person has ever had a deep, meaningful, intimate connection. Hey, they might have been dating someone, but they were there, but they weren't there. And that's what happens with disassociation. When a person is disassociated, they can't show up. They have avoidant issues. They can't show up. And it's the real root is because no one was ever there. I don't really feel good enough. I never really felt loved. So again, they tend to withdraw. So anytime that this person has a problem, they would do that. But the way that they do it is they don't just ghost. I feel like they become rebellious. Like they look for a reason to do this. So you might say, do you want like potato salad or would you like coleslaw? And they'd be like, that's it. I'm not talking to you for like 2 weeks. And you'd be like, I didn't even say anything. I didn't even add. It's because they're looking for a reason, and they're looking for a reason because they're overwhelmed with their feelings. If a person's disassociated, they've never learned to deal with their feelings. They've never learned to, they're not emotionally intelligent. They don't know what they feel. So how could they know what you feel or what you need? And here you're looking for this person to be there for you, and they can't be there for you. They're going to get it slow because they don't even do it for themselves. And that's really what spirit is trying to say. I'm looking for my trigger cards because it's like, okay, I want to know then how we already know how it made you feel. Again, obviously, like abandoned and also a little shocked because I feel like you had a connection to this person. So you're like, I really thought that you would show up for this at least, that you would at least get it for this. Again, their ignorance is triggering a wound within inside of you. However, this person has the same wound. It's just they continue to like play out that karmic theme where they abandon people. And then in abandoning people, they're actually abandoning themselves. Because when you're disassociated, you're not 100% present. You're not 100% awake to things. Again, so this person avoided you because of fights and arguments and the conflict. And, I feel like they tend to also look to create that. So again, that's the avoidance. It's like, I don't want to talk to you. So I'm going to deliberately start a fight or an argument. And I also want to hide from you because I know you're going to yell at me. You're going to, again, confront me. You're going to like create a conflict. These weren't exactly the cards that I wanted either. See, um, these are not my trigger cards. The irony how that came out though of this deck, it was this deck that I was looking for. But spirit wanted me to use this deck, so we're gonna see over the moon. So I feel like this person just always thought, I feel like, that you were going to be there. And I say that again, like, or you actually always thought that they were going to be there in the beginning. So it was really devastating to you. Like, over the moon is like being happy. Like, again, thinking that it was going to be like happily ever after because there was such a good connection, or that just that this person was going to come through for you. That and they didn't. And again, it's like, and the fact that you still have feelings for this person. When I ask Virgo, like, how do you feel? It says, I feel empty without you. So again, like, I feel like when you were with this person, it's like, even though you were so happy to be with them, but then they were never really with you. You felt like, again, the promise of being with you. And again, saying that they were going to show up, knowing that you have a deep connection with someone, and also kind of assuming that they would assuming that, and I know what they say, that you shouldn't assume because it makes an ass out of you and me. However, when you meet someone that you have such a deep connection with, and you're like, well, this was something completely devastating that I needed, that you should have showed up for me. It's so obvious. It's so obvious, like the things that you did. And I feel like, again, they couldn't show up. They couldn't show up for you because, again, of things from the past. So until they healed those things from the past, as soon as they would get close to anybody, not just you, to anybody, it's, again, they deliberately become rebellious. They want to be in a relationship, but without really being in a relationship. And then to deal with their issues, their problems, because they don't want to like share them with you. Again, that would create intimacy. And so this person, again, has those problems because of the past. They withdraw, and of course that would make you feel empty, especially when you have such like big feelings. And the reason why is because they don't want to deal with like what they did. They don't want to apologize. They don't want to face it. They just want to, you know, pretend that it didn't happen, pretend that it's not happening. And so I could see why you would detach from this person. Look, literally, avoidance was like the first card when I looked down, like the deck, and that was face up, avoidance. So it's like, again, this person was more ashamed of themselves and how they treated you. But I also just feel like, almost like when by the time that they realized, I feel like for a long time, this person just thought, didn't, didn't think. Again, that's why you felt forgotten. And it's all because, again, this person doesn't really they don't feel good with themselves. So they don't really feel good with anybody. They feel like they're out of touch, like out of that they can't connect. And they can't connect until they actually heal. So it doesn't mean that they didn't have like feelings for you. What this is it's like a person that seemed to try to get into a relationship before they were ready to be in a relationship. They thought that they were going to be in this relationship before they actually did the healing work, but they were in a relationship with someone for a long period of time, and it didn't work out. And if they weren't in a relationship with someone for a long period of time, they've only had bad relationships, one after another. They really should have gotten a healing as soon as they were able to move out onto their own, to be honest with you. Because if you don't live enough of your own life, and you were brought up in a family where there was so much trauma that in order to survive, you had to detach from yourself. Again, then unless you created a whole new life, and went out and explored and became someone new. You're going to repeat the same, you know, same habits, same conditions, same everything from the environment, because of the environment that you grew up in. So you grew up in an environment that taught you that you're not safe, that, you know, that you can't really be vulnerable because there you don't have anyone to rely on, because again you're dealing with people that need you to be reliable, but they're not going to be reliable for you, when meanwhile you're not even really old enough to be relied on. And so that's a tremendous amount of pressure. It's a tremendous amount of fear, where this person never really learned how to like navigate their life after. And so what happened is, I feel like they got into relationships that they wound up giving too much, and the relationship obviously was toxic. Or whether and then after they weren't given too much, they were given too little, because that's what people do. They go from extremes trying to control, and they're just creating more bad uh bad relationships, because what they're holding in their mind is that they really can't have a good relationship. So they're stuck in this weird space. And like I said, it's never really giving anything, being in a relationship without being in a relationship, you know? And so, but here it is, you feel empty without them, when meanwhile they weren't really even there. So again, here it is, lonely. This person again wasn't really there. It's like, and I feel like it's worse when you're in a relationship with someone and you feel lonely than whether or not you're just lonely. It's better to be lonely by yourself than lonely in a relationship. And that's the thing. This person like couldn't, again, ignored. It's like it's all the same thing. It's like this person didn't give. They didn't give what they should have. They again disappeared, and they disappeared because again of their own situation. So I'm feeling like this person started a relationship, and then the relationship never took off. And it never took off because they again started the relationship before they actually went through this process. I'm not even gonna pull anymore because they're all like the same. So what is this person gonna do? Or can we go deep? Can we go really deep and see like what do they feel about the relationship? Do they see it now? Because like I said, they see what they did now. It shows that, but let's see, are they gonna do anything? What are they thinking? So they're, it's like you're in a clearing process. It's like you're both experiencing like a collective clearing. So even though you're alone, you're not alone. So this is almost suggesting as if this is a spiritual connection that, you know, there was a lot of healing done on your own. So that doesn't mean that you're supposed to be with this person, by the way. What that means is that they came into your life to make you feel a certain way, to bring up emotions that you're not really conscious of, you don't really think about, you weren't really present to, but it was always there. And what it was obviously is again, like ignored, feeling lonely, just you know, feeling forgotten about, all because the person that you're dealing with feels that way. So they avoid, but they avoid because again, they avoid by withdrawing, because I feel like they weren't done in the relationship, like can go with their full healing process. However, in separation, you're clearing, and I feel like this person realizes how they treated you, and now they're clearing, because what it is it's like they're looking at their behavior. Now, this isn't about fixing it, it's more or less about um seeing how selfish, seeing how they contributed to the undesirable experience that played out again, because they did have feelings. Seeing how they undervalued you, seeing how, they thought that you were toxic in the beginning, and now they're looking at their behavior. So they're learning from this connection. I know I need to release attachments with karmic people. I've created a plan. So it's again, here it is right here. Again, that this person like is still holding on. Again, started a relationship, but shouldn't have started a relationship. And that is exactly what I felt. So it's like they're in this weird limbo space. And here it is. It's like they didn't deal with it properly. And they just, I said, like in the beginning, when they knew that they were leaving this person, I feel like they came to you and they said, we're completely separated, and they weren't. It's like they're on their way to doing that, but they jumped the gun to almost hold you up so you couldn't go out and date, so you wouldn't meet anyone else. I feel like this person started to get a lot of anxiety, like that they knew how much time had went by. They again finally got it that they, went ghost. That I feel like this person withdrew, but when they withdraw, they they're detached, they're dissociated, they're in a place of depression. And so this person drinks sometimes. They just were consumed in their own problems, that they just never thought to pick up the phone, never thought to, again, didn't treat you like anything. And now they're concerned because they're like, oh, they're concerned, like you're gonna ask other people. And I feel like this person tends to like not feel that strong, like is asking other people, like, is it too late? What should I do? Should I could come back? Because they don't really know. And they're also afraid that you might ask other people. And this person doesn't have good experiences with that, because I feel like they've had nothing but bad relationships. So bad relationships, when you're in a bad relationship with a friend, with somebody that has friends rather, you're gonna have problems. It's like those friends are not gonna be on the person that is not treating their friend nicely. So they're a little bit like concerned about that after so much time. My inner child was wounded when my parents couldn't respond to me in the way that I needed them to. I am reacting from that wound. So this is what I was saying about their parents, where I kept saying, even though I feel like it happened in the relationship, and it has, their dysfunction has played out in the past relationship, where they're not 100% out of, where they again began to start a relationship before this has ended, which the reason why I'm saying it again, it's like the same pattern. This person is stuck in a karmic loop. It's like, okay, they meet someone new, but again, it's not started on truth. It's not started. I feel like they never really 100% end a relationship. They already have someone set up before that relationship is completely out. So they're codependent. And again, this goes back to again that that their parents weren't there. And because their parents weren't there, they have major fear of abandonment, where they again disassociated, and disassociate means again they don't have feelings. It's like it's that they're not aware. It's not that they don't have feelings, like they can feel, obviously, like if they built an emotional connection to you. The issue is actually having this person be able to form an emotional connection to you, where I feel like they do. However, they also have this ability to detach because they haven't healed themselves. So anytime they would get into a relationship with anybody until they heal it, it's going to trigger them and they're going to react. And the more this person has feelings and emotions, the more they're going to react. It's like I've been giving my power away to people in my life, and I'm learning to set boundaries. So, like said, what happens is that this person, I feel like hasn't 100% let go of that, you know, that ex or, person, whoever this person was. Somebody that's definitely a karmic though, and part of them doesn't want to hurt this person. Part of them wants, they don't love, they're not in love with this person. And I wouldn't even say they love this person. It's more or less like we've had a lot of time together. We've been, and though I don't love you in that way, and I can see myself moving forward in my life and being happy without you, I feel so bad about that because you make me feel bad about that. You've always made me feel bad about that, to the point that I've always given too much. I've always like gone over where this is how this person feels, but I'm feeling like it's because they're detached, that emotionally they didn't give. So whoever they actually made this relationship work with, the person that they were with gave and gave and gave and gave, where again, they weren't capable of giving. So it's like they feel guilty about 100% severing it. They feel like I should make sure that you're fully set up. I should do this. I should do that. I should do this. But in that, they withdrew from you. They didn't tell you about their issue. They didn't say, hey, listen, I need to do this for this person, because they figured, well, you would be like, well, you need to be here for me, or why are you doing all that? Obviously, you still have feelings by this person didn't know how to deal with it. So they were like, again, just like, I'm not going to deal with it. I am going to withdraw from you, go into isolation because I don't know how to deal with it. And I don't want to fight about it. So instead, I'm just gonna kind of, make you feel forgotten about. You'll be lonely. Yeah, that's bad, but I feel like you're strong enough to deal with it. And that's where the problem comes into place, because now they're looking at it like, I shouldn't have made you deal with that by yourself. I should have been there for you. And so, but again, they're looking and they're seeing, why wasn't I? Why wasn't I? Because understand, if they didn't have feelings, they wouldn't be asking, why wasn't I? They have feelings. And so it's again, it's brought them back to my inner child was wounded. And I need to release that karmic. It's like I'm trying to figure it out. I've been giving my power away. Just been giving my power away. It's like, and I need to stop listening to other people, but please also, you don't listen to other people, because obviously anyone in their right mind would tell you to leave me, to not give me the time of day. I feel like I don't deserve your love. I'm worried you'll leave me when you see who I really am. So that's the thing too. It's like this karmic has given and given and given and given and given to your person, that, or the person that's connected to you, however you want to say it, to the point that they feel like obligated. There's not a sense of love, but I feel like it gets confusing for them, because they're like, the nostalgia of being with somebody and having someone in your life, especially if this person never connected to anybody. And again, they grew up and they didn't have a normal attachment. So they don't really know what a normal attachment is. And so, again, being connected to someone that does everything, they had created all the memories. You were with somebody, they obviously created memories. They feel bad. And so they also feel, they feel bad for that person, but they also feel bad to you, because they know I should have been there. And really, like, I see who you are. And I might have not seen before, but I definitely see who you are now. And I don't know whether I can live up to you. So there's a lot of insecurity that all this is coming up right now for them. So sometimes we're not even in a relationship, that just the relationship brings us together to help us look and see what needs to be healed, because I'm not seeing. There are messages being exchanged through music and movies. Listen carefully and trust what you hear. So this person again is looking for signs and synchronicities, and again, their life is kind of like not their own. They feel bad. They have to work through a lot of issues, but those issues are mainly rooted in their inner child. Like again, situations of fear of abandonment, and just the same as like if I leave this person that obviously has absolutely no self-esteem, because if they're doing all the work to hold together a relationship, you know that they're not getting anything in return. They might be getting monetarily things in return, but they're not getting the love and the nurturing. And no one really wants to be in a relationship that's just financially based. They want to be in a relationship that's everything based, So they're not really happy. That's an unhealthy attachment right there. Um, but it's based on guilt and fear and whatever. So your person like is seeing who you are, and they're like, clearly, you wouldn't put up with this. It's like that I have this attachment and that I'm giving to this, and I don't really know. So it's making them look at everything, making them like look for answers on how to get out of this situation too. I mean, it's scary for them. Again, fear of abandonment. You might not like me. There's a lot of things you might like me now for who I am, for who you thought I am. But once you really see who I am, then I'm a weak person. You're not going to like me anymore, is what this person fears. Which, by the way, goes back to, again, their inner child from that inner child wound from childhood, where the parent again abandoned them, and to the point that it was made them detached. So we need to ask why you attracted this person into your life. However, we can see why you would attract this person into your life if you also had, a parent that wasn't there for you emotionally. And that's what I felt to begin with. But we are going to go deeper and see more specifically. Wonder. I like that card because I feel like, first of all, it's a gift. And the gift is, again, you always wondered about yourself. And you've always wondered about what was out there in the world for you, to the point that you were really a child. You were a kid. Even if you, again, were brought up in an environment that you weren't really allowed to be a child, you escaped through your mind, through your imagination. So, and there were things that you always wanted to experience. And I say that because detachment and disassociation from the trauma would make you be more imaginative, would make you go more into your mind. So you'd be very psychic, but you'd also be very imaginative, be very creative, and be very intuitive and very curious, to be like, well, I want to know what else is out there. I don't want to stay here. Here doesn't make me feel safe, doesn't make me feel good. I want to know what the wonder is within myself, within the world. Again, it's dance. I always feel like dance is another gift because, again, everybody has their own style, right? So I feel like you have your own style, which actually is a gift. But I think when you were younger, because your style was a little bit different, people tended to like judge you a little bit. So, that was a little bit, I want to say, stifled. And because, again, if you grew up with parents that were very strict and, they wanted you to do things their way, they didn't want you to really celebrate your own unique individuality, especially if it was, seen as childish, like being imaginative and creative and, are not going to bring you tons of money. That is what you know, they would think. So it would be, oh, and two came out. Look at this, resentment and cleansing. So I would say, again, even though you were imaginative and creative and you always wondered, you know, your energy was suppressed. And, you know, you weren't really allowed to like find your own rhythm, you know, dance to your own tune per se. You weren't allowed to find your style. And there was resentment. There's resentment there. And that's the anger. If we feel like our parent didn't show up for us emotionally, where I feel like, again, you might have not had a parent that was so abusive. They just didn't show up for you emotionally, which is what I feel. But nevertheless, that would make you feel as if they did something to you to stop you from being able to live the life or to have the experiences that you would want to experience, whether you're conscious of it or not. A lot of times we're like, no, no, we know my parent was just made me go to school all the time or just was strict. Well, it's again, when our parents are too strict, whether or not that's, you know, for our best interest or for not our best interest, it doesn't matter. It's seen as a second chakra imbalance where we don't feel strong with ourselves. We don't know what our style is. We were told what it is. We were told, so there's a little bit of doubt. You can't manifest good things with doubt in there. There has to be sure that I really know what I am doing. And the only way that that happens is by doing, right? Mastery comes in doing, and then you get to see the after effects. And so the after effects of whatever you're manifesting, after you manifested, you draw attention to it by whatever you did and by people's expression of it is how we learn, or by, you know, just our own being able to see where you weren't allowed to. And whenever you tried to, the expression wasn't positive, is what I'm getting at. So there was resentment and you needed to cleanse that. So you attracted this person because really them not being able to show up for you gave you a lot of time. It gave you a lot of time to find out about the wonders of you. Like, who are you? What do you want? What do you want within your world? What do you want to create for yourself? What do you love? It's again, and to find your own rhythm. I feel like, again, there were changes in your life. This person didn't show up during times that they really should have, and because they were too consumed with other people. And so during that time, you should have again went out and had a love affair with yourself, right? And found what stirs up your soul, what your gifts are. Like again, like figure out what you getting clear about what you want for you. And that a lot of times, if we grew up in an environment that was really stifling, and it could be for good reasons, so you might have grown up in a big family. I feel like some of you were like, no, it wasn't school and it wasn't that. It was I grew up in a big family. So, you know, everybody plays a role in the family. So you might have said, well, I feel like I took on the role of the healer, or I took on the role of the fixer of the family, which didn't allow me to go out and create myself. You got gifts from that. And that's the whole point, is when we cleanse ourselves of the resentment, we actually see the gifts that came from that situation that you grew up in. And so I feel like this person, like, again, they're just not strong enough. I feel like they're just not, you know, strong enough to deal with situations head on. And they probably will never be unless they do that healing. The good thing is that I feel like this connection will at least make them look at their behavior. Now, for you, we can ask spirit, so what what energy does it bring in for us? Because obviously this person that we were over the moon for, it did that, and we don't really see them coming back. We see them marinating a lot on it. We see them looking at their behavior. Now, that's not to say that they won't, but it didn't show up in this reading. So, and I think because the focus isn't on whether you get back together with this person. However, what we see is it's affected them enough to do the work. I have a feeling if they do the work that they'll actually come back. If they don't do the work, they won't come back. And so it depends on how deep they go in with the work. Just looking at the behavior isn't going to be enough. Okay, let's see. Peace. I am unwavering in the face of fear. I come to my senses and embrace challenge. I am determined to think with gentleness and calm. I find inner silence and become a manifestation of peace. So I'm feeling like this isn't just about manifesting like what you're trying, like yourself per se, like again, finding the wonders within you, investing your time in things that stir up your soul, and so that you can really know who you are and attract your tribe and create the life that you want. But it's also, if you grew up not feeling supported, it's to also learn how to live like in peace with yourself, allowing yourself to find your process, allowing yourself to enjoy every moment of your path. I feel like don't rush it. Don't, again, growing up in an environment where, parents were so rigid also tells me that they were stressed out. They were stressed out just about their own life. And so how they dealt with stress. And if you didn't feel safe, they didn't really deal with stress in the appropriate manner. So it's about you learning to like recondition that part of you. If you're someone that says, no, I do have a lot of anxiety, I have a lot of anxiety. And it's like, that spirit is saying, well, all that, when you show up for yourself and you invest in yourself by, again, having a love affair with yourself and discovering the wonders in you, the wonders in the world, that actually takes on its own energy and creates a whole new life. It makes a way where there is no way, because again, you're feeding yourself, you're giving yourself the love, which is reparenting yourself from abandonment, which would need to happen. And then forming those relationships in a safe space, which again, through your passions, hobbies, interests, again, things that stir your soul up, you're going to meet people that have common interests. And over time, relationships form because trust forms. So you're able to actually heal yourself. And I feel like you need to do the same thing. You don't need to do the deeper healing, but you need to, again, go out and have a love affair, recreate your life, find the wonders within you. This person needs to do that too, but they also need to do the much deeper healing as well. And that's to figure out why they act the way that they act and what they would need to actually do to reparent themselves. It can't just be like, just go out and have a love affair. This person needs healing. They need to do that other part, like I said, too, because that's part of healing. And a new opening. When one door opens, I am confident another will open, and it will be for my betterment. I accept that life brings challenges and acknowledges the opportunity and learning they present to me. Serenity comes from within. So this is saying that you're going to meet somebody else, that this was just a test. This was a karmic test. And so I feel like this person was a karmic mate. But in the end, it's their karma because they came to you to pretty much tell you, I have feelings for you. Like, I'm gonna get you to fall in love with me. I'm gonna make you feel like we're starting a relationship. And as soon as you feel safe, I'm gonna disappear and then finish up what I need to finish up here. So because they did that in that way, I feel like they lost you because they came in to kind of hold you up so you wouldn't meet anyone because the fear was I need to rush in because you're going to meet someone. And what winds up happening is you're going to meet somebody because they actually did that, not because they took so long. Like if they would have came and talked to you and not ignored you, and then, after they did that, but they did everything backwards. They came rushing in, trying to get you, I'm gonna meet somebody, then ran away and then ghosted. So of course, you're like gonna choose someone else. So it winds up on them. They get to eat the karma. And that is the end because they're gonna be devastated because like I said, they they moved so fast because they were really taken, but that none of it was built on truth, because except for that they really did have feelings for you. But when I say nothing's built on truth, they couldn't come in and actually offer you anything until they closed out that past relationship. All right, you got it. I'm gonna leave that there. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.